We're going to call to order. We're on roll call. Which way do we start?
You can.
Please. We're doing roll call first.
I'm sorry, I'm putting my phone on stun.
Okay. Just don't aim it this way. Or maybe that's
Present.
Okay, thank you.
Linnell, here.
Oh, present?
I don't know. Is this the way we do roll
Call
call?
names.
Oh, I get to
the
call?
record. Yeah. I can do it if you want me to.
Mr. Linden, I do not know how to pronounce your last name.
Oh, I'm leaving.
Thank you.
Chick is here.
Stick. Cole Hayes.
Here.
Van Hove.
Stars with Van Hove.
McNulty.
Here.
Okay.
Phil Coyne.
Phil Coyne, thank you.
Rudolph for active here.
All right, so public involvement statement, Mr. Lyon.
All AMATS meetings are open to the public. If we have a business item, we'll have a presentation by staff or a consultant. At that point, the committee will be given a chance to discuss it, and then after that, the public will be invited to comment.
Okay, we're at the approval agenda. Motion to approve.
Second.
Ooh, I don't know who got it. So Mr. Cole Hayes moved. We'll go with Mr. Lynn. A second. Any discussion on the agenda? Do we take public comments on the agenda? I don't know if you're going to get a refreshment now.
Nope.
Okay. Any objection to the approval of the agenda? Seeing and hearing none, then that is approved. We're going to move on to first action item is the Unified Planning Work Program narrative. So you want to give us a background, Mr. Lyon?
Yes, so this came before the TAC. It was released, we recommended to the policy committee to release it for public review. It was released on November 22nd, and that public comment period with weekends and such ended on December 27th. We had a total of 18 comments received, and they are on the iPads. They're also in the large format, 11 by 17 here. There are, let me say, 18 comments, some from the CAC, the Citizens Advisory Committee, and some other ones, mostly from the Alaska Division of Public Health for the state. So that's the extent of the public comments that we've received. Staff has responses there that you can see, and be happy to go through them. You can see the responses that staff came up with, but what we're looking for today is to incorporate, get your recommendations on the staff's responses of those comments, and then move the UPWP along to the policy committee for final approval in 2 weeks with those suggested changes or lack of changes. So,
Thank you. So any general comments from the committee before we ask for any public comments? Okay, is there anybody from the public who would like to make a comment on this? Okay, back at the committee. What I'd like to do is have a motion to approve with the recommendations of staff on the comments, and then we can just go through the comments. I think there's only 3 pages. And do any amendments we want, and or any amendments to the actual document before we make a final vote on to approve the plan. So if that's okay with the committee, that's be the simplest.
before we, what would you recommend the parliamentary procedure
Did
was?
you have any discussion before you have a motion, and then do your motion and make amendments if Chris have any amendments to make? Since you
That's
already
what you
opened it up to
want.
public, well, that's why you were asking for, excuse me, through the chair, that's why you were asking for comments from the committee, if there was any discussion.
I was just giving my 2 cents, but if we wanted to, maybe wants to discuss that or go in a different direction.
We're not very formal here.
That's up to you.
So can I move to approve? I move to approve.
Okay, you want to just move to approve?
Second. Second.
Who did?
So that's
Okay.
to move the whole document.
To approve the whole document, now we're going to have a discussion on that.
See if there are any suggested changes or questions on any of those comments. And our response.
Okay, so let's go through, let's take look at the comments on the first page. If anybody's got have anything they would like to discuss with respect to staff's comments, or response to comments. Okay, second page. Third page. Okay, so let me get this straight. What is before the committee is to approve it with staff comments, is that correct? With the responses to the comments, is that
She made the motion, I'm assuming you made the motion on the comment response summary, or did you make it on
To move forward.
recommend the UPWP with these comments?
I was recommending to move the UPW forward with the staff response to
Okay.
comments.
Okay, so that's what the motion is, and second. Is there any objection to that approval? All right, assuming here that that's been approved, then I think we're on to, I just got to figure out how to get back to where I was in the first place. Oh, went too far, didn't I? Okay, so we are on Freight Advisory Committee. Same thing, comments from the committee, right?
I'll explain it first, and
Oh, that's
then
right.
you
Sorry.
guys can chat about it, and then, I mean, I can be quiet over here too.
No, go ahead.
That is an option. So, as you probably remember, most of the committee members, Aves Thompson was the director of the Alaska Trucking Association for many, many years. He was the ATA representative on the Freight Advisory Committee. He retired. Bob Shake replaced him. And I'm not 100% certain, but I believe there were some family issues that came up that did not allow Mr. Shake to continue on at the ATA. And so Joe Michael, I believe it's pronounced Michael, if anyone knows, it could be Michelle, I guess, but I think it's Joe Michael, was a deputy director at the ATA, and he has since been promoted to executive director. The Freight Advisory Committee, that particular position says it's the ATA seat, the Alaska Trucking Association seat. So we basically take whoever they want to have fill that seat and move it along. So, and he's got some good experience there. He's been there for a while. I think it's a good selection. So we were asking TAC to recommend his appointment to the policy committee in 2 weeks.
Okay, is there any discussion from the committee on this item? Okay, anybody in the public want to make a comment on this item? No? Okay, back to the committee.
Do we have a motion already?
No, do not. Wait, not one.
I move to forward Joe Michael, recommend Joe Michael to the, is it recommend to the policy committee for appointment?
It's a Freight Advisory Committee.
Freight Advisory Committee appointment.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Did we get a second?
Mr. Leamy.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there any opposition to or oppose the approval of this from the committee? Seeing and hearing none, that's approved. Okay, we're on to Connected and Autonomous Vehicle Charter. Mr. Lyon.
Sure, we had this before us last month. This again is a charter creating a, I think they're calling it a working group. Some entity that would include CAB team, yeah, a team that would include members of the state and the city and also AMATS and Fairbanks' FAST group. So we had it last month, and the committee asked to have another month to look at it to make their thoughts known or come up with their thoughts. I'm listed as a signer for this, and I'm not going to sign it until the policy committee says sign it. So that's why I brought it before you. I know that the municipality has looked at this thing as well, and that they are formulating their response if they haven't already sent it along. the comments that we had last month basically talked about, they thought that because the Trucking Association is on there as a team member, it made sense for the Public Transit Department to be on there as a team member as well. We had a gentleman from FHWA come up and give us a long, we had an hour and a half, 2-hour meeting, and his thoughts were the two entities that would be the first that would be implementing CV or AV in Alaska, and most of the rest of the United States typically is the freight community and buses. So it makes sense to us that transit should be on there. We also thought that, I also strongly thought that Vivian should be listed on there. Vivian Underwood, our senior planner, should be listed as a resource, not a team member, but a resource, because she's been managing the ITS projects, et cetera, since before I got here, and she definitely has an expertise in there. It makes sense for her to be a resource. Again, I don't know exactly what the city might be recommending in terms of team members, et cetera, but those were the only changes that I could think of, and those are the ones that were discussed at the last meeting. You asked for another month to look it over, and so it's back before you again. And basically what we're asking you to do is recommend to the policy committee any possible changes, and obviously whether or not we should sign on to this. Happy to answer other questions if you have.
Okay, discussion with the committee.
Do we have to move to approve?
Not yet, this is
Not
just.
yet. So we're gonna go to the public here in a minute. Yes, sir. Mr. Collins.
We also discussed recommending that either the Anchorage mayor be removed or the Fairbanks mayor be a signatory.
Right.
So just reminding folks of that. So is it my understanding that after the discussion is done and we've heard public comment, we can make a motion, somebody can make a motion to approve this with the changes? Is that?
Absolutely. You're
Okay.
going to recommend, hopefully recommend to the policy committee any changes you might have. I don't remember who it was who mentioned it, but someone mentioned the reason the Anchorage mayor is on there and the Fairbanks mayor is not has to do with what kind of connectedness they already have, or whether it's a certain size city or something, and that's why they didn't include the Fairbanks mayor. It's based on the population. I don't remember who mentioned that, but someone mentioned there was reasoning behind not having the Fairbanks mayor on there. So.
I thought at last month's meeting, it was also discussed that if we were going to have the Anchorage public transit on there, that we should also have the Fairbanks equivalent as
I
well.
do remember that discussion.
Yes, sir.
So in internal discussions at DOT, the AMATS planner was assigned to research the review period that had gone before this document was crafted and signed by division directors at state. He utterly failed to complete that research before this meeting. So I can't say, but I would assume that at some point this document was circulated to all of the signatory departments listed here at some point in the past. And with 3 signatures from state commissioners already on this document, I'm not sure that this is the time to be amending the document, because then all of those people would need to re-sign and agree to a new document. I think the issue before us here is whether or not we should recommend that Craig sign this, not whether or not we should add or remove things to it. But I would have to defer to you if you recall ever receiving this for review.
What I can tell you, I don't remember the exact date, but the day of the meeting where the gentleman from FHWA presented on kind of the state of things here, Jackson Fox, who's the director of FAST, who's my equivalent up in Fairbanks, sent me this document and said, I'm assuming you've already seen this, what do you think about it? And I said, this is the first I've seen it. And I still have never received it officially from anyone. That's the only time I've ever gotten it. So, I don't know, I sent it along to the mayor's office. I'm assuming they received it in some other capacity, but I'm not positive of that. That's the information I can tell you. I've never received this officially from anybody. When, at that meeting with the FHWA person, the commissioner asked me if I had gotten it yet, and I said, well, and I was standing next to Jackson, and I said, well, I did because he just sent it to me today, and he was kind of taken aback that it did not get to him, did not get to me officially. So, and he said that would be taken care of, and all I can tell you is I still haven't received it officially. So,
Mr. Chairman.
Well, Ms. McNulty's next, sorry.
I was just going to ask, and I think you led up to it, but just to clarify, did you have a chance to then review it when it was handed to you prior to it being signed, or had it already had these 3 signatures on it?
the signatures were on it.
Okay.
I was going to say, I believe, not to testify for the committee, but in my role as the director of PM&E, the first time we saw the document, it had the 3 signatures on it. There was no, I don't recall a review opportunity before that, so.
May I ask what power this committee would have or who they would report to? Not committee, but team.
So, I haven't been told anything official, all I have is what's here, but my understanding of it is, and so when we had this gentleman from FHWA come up, he was kind of explaining, here's the state of connected vehicles, autonomous vehicles, and how different state governments have responded to this around the country. And he listed, here are the states that have issued, a governor has minister, so I'm looking for it, issued an executive order relating to connected autonomous vehicles and whether or not and where they're allowed and all that sort of stuff on the state roads. Some states have had a legislative movement to do that same thing. Some states have done both. There are a handful of states, probably 9 or 10, that haven't done anything, and we're one of them. So, I think what it was kind of an opportunity to say, we know these things are coming, they are here to some degree right now, and so we need to, there could be potentially legal ramifications related to this. We need to say whether or not we think that these are allowed on our facilities or not. And so this, I think, is an opportunity. I think it's a really good idea. It's an opportunity to go and say, it's nice that we are being added to the list and being in the room and talking about how are we going to prepare for connected and autonomous vehicles inside the municipality of Anchorage, inside the AMATS boundaries, and certainly in the state. I think that answers that question.
My concern is I see a lot of great planning expertise on here, but I don't see a network security type expert advising that team. And that seems like, just something that absolutely would be critical to plan in is security of any connected network that could potentially direct traffic of autonomous
I
vehicles.
don't know the backgrounds of most of those people on there. I don't look at any of them and nothing jumps out that says network security, but.
Okay, before we go any further, for the record, we want to, Ms. Walsh has joined us. Thank you. And who's next? Did you want to-
I just want to ask a quick question here, Mr. Situate. Who would that be? I mean, do you have anybody we can even identify to fulfill that role?
I mean, within the municipality, we defer to MOAIT, but
Mark
I don't know who does that at the state level.
Mark Merchant is the MOA's security specialist.
Does the state have someone as well?
I'm sure.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure these were actually,
But
I like the idea, I just want to make sure we had actual people we could identify.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's, I would feel much better knowing that voice was there, present at any discussions. Or that expertise to scrutinize was advising the committee as well, or the team as well.
Any other discussion from the committee on this item? Okay, is there anybody that wants to talk in the public on this item? Mr. Edmonds.
Jim Amundson, Chief of Highway Design, Alaska DOT. At least one of the technical advisors listed, in fact, has substantial IT security expertise. In fact, that's on that technical list already. And this is being circulated for signatures from what I can tell. At this point, it's a little late to be offering up changes and amendments.
Right.
Okay, is there anyone else in the public who wants to comment on this? Okay, thank you. All right, it's back to the committee for, well, I just want to say that keep in mind that this is a state document, so if you want, this isn't an AMATS document, so it's not like we're going to amend it. We can ask for the state to change it or in amendments, but that's where we're at on this.
Question for Mr. Lyons?
Yep, sure.
Can we make a motion that would forward this to the policy committee with a recommendation that they consider our comments and approve it either way? So I think I have a motion.
Okay, if you're going to motion, I mean, what comments are we going to go through?
No, I'm
Procedure.
going to try to frame it.
Okay, all right, so we have a motion.
I move to forward this to the policy committee with the recommendation that they consider addition of the MOA senior planner as a technical resource, that they consider the addition of Anchorage and Fairbanks transit directors,
As team members.
as team members, and that they, I'll stop there. Yeah, I guess, and approve or modify as they see appropriate.
I'll second it.
Okay.
You keep it off. At least we can talk about it.
Okay, so is there a discussion on the committee on that motion?
I'm all for it. I mean, you gotta start somewhere. The state wants to
Okay.
take it
Is there
on.
any objection to that motion?
Well, I have a comment on my motion. I stopped, I would offer it, do we want to include in there, do we want to amend the motion to include the Fairbanks mayor or deleting the Anchorage mayor, or just leave it as it is? I'm just throwing that out for the committee to consider.
Okay, well, somebody would have to
I don't remember who said it, but whoever stated the difference in why Fairbanks was not added and Anchorage was, it was a really good argument. Whatever it was, I went, that makes a lot of sense.
And that
makes sense.
wasn't in regard to Wasilla, was it?
No,
Because
no,
we
no,
had
no.
some
It
discussion about
was,
Wasilla.
there's a reason why Fairbanks wasn't, and it was because of the size
Okay.
and what infrastructure might already be there, something like that. It just, I heard that and I went, that makes perfect sense. So, just, I'm sorry I don't have more information than that, but when I heard that, it made sense for why the state didn't add Fairbanks to there originally.
All right, is there any other discussion on the motion that Mr. Coley has put forth? Is there any objection to it being approved? Okay. Then it is approved. Thank you. Where are we at? Let's see. Here I go using this thing again.
We're down the information line?
Technology. All right, we're down to project and plan updates. Mr. Lyons.
So for the MTP, I don't have too much. I know the draft is still out for public review and comment, I believe, right now, and I forget when that ends, but I think it's sometime in February. I was going to say there was a forum there, could have been 24th or 14th, so. But again, I don't have any idea if we've received any or how many we received. I'm assuming we probably have, knowing the nature of that particular creature. So other than that, I don't have too much to add on that. I would have Vivian or Aaron share more, but Vivian is sick and Aaron is on the beach, so can't provide too much right now for us.
So we're moving on to item 7.
Yes, please. Oh, not item 7,
6B.
6B.
6B, I'm sorry. My apologies. We're on 6B.
Christine Cheney is
So
here.
the draft plan of the short-range transit plan is out for review as well till the end of this month. We briefed this committee in August about this plan, and we have 2 public involvement periods, so we kind of went over the details of the results of those processes. This plan encompasses everything we heard. The project that was prioritized and received the most support was a new route on Old Sewer going to the Lucette Library, and the alignment that received the most support was one that also went through West Anchorage on Wisconsin and then ended at Downtown Transit Center. So it started at Diamond and ends at Downtown Transit Center. The Assembly passed a budget in 2020 to give us funding to implement this route. So at the end of the public process where we collect all the votes, we will, or all the comments, we will start planning and hope to implement this in next fall. And so we're collecting comments until the end of the month by email, mail, or we have our public transit advisory board meeting tonight where members of the public can come, and that will be the one place that they can make a verbal comment because that meeting is recorded. And then we'll be at the municipality's mini transportation fair on the 23rd of this month, also collecting comments.
Where's the fair at, the mini transportation fair?
Sorry,
On the 23rd, where is that event?
that's at the,
Alaska Airlines Center.
yes.
Same location, just in a smaller area.
Any other questions on this item? Anyone from the public, anybody in the committee, questions, anything?
There are copies over there of the draft, so grab them.
Okay, we're off to 7A then. Mr. Lyon.
So clearly that document is not linked here. Thanks, Aaron. I will see if I have the PDF of it and send it around to the committee. For the most part, our meetings are, the TAC is the second Thursday of every month, 2:30 in this room, and policy the 4th. So, but I'll just make sure that gets around to you so you have it. That's what you're sharing there.
Any questions on 7A? From anybody? Okay, we're on to 8. Any comments from the committee on anything? Yes?
Just a quick comment on the Anchorage Mini Transportation Fair. Thanks so much to Chelsea for picking that up. We had already advertised it, same with AMATS, and then found out that it wasn't happening, so Chelsea really picked up and ran with it, and thank goodness. So we really appreciate the work that she's done.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that comment, the general Anchorage Transportation Fair, we ran into a contracting snag, and so that meeting on the 23rd has been postponed, not canceled, until this fall. So we are still efforting to have a transportation fair this year for Anchorage and the Matsu, because we won't be doing it before the construction season.
Any other committee comments? Nope. Do we have any public comments? We're on item 9, public comments. Anybody in the public want to make a comment? Nope. Okay, we're on to 10, adjourn.
Move, we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, any objections to adjourn? Hearing none, we're done. Thank you.
Thank you.